criticism. Although Shanghai and Hong Kong regularly perform highly in international assessment, China's education has both native and international dictated. Common areas of criticism include its intense region rigor, its emphasis on the memorization and the standardized tested, and the gap in quality of the education between the student of the rural and urban areas. Jonathan Kaiman of the Guardian writers that the China's parents and the educators sees their own system as a corrupt, dehumanizing and pursuing as a unfair. He went on the discussing the country at a college admission exams called the Gagao, the writing that many parents consider the grueling 9 hours test a shorting mechanism that will determine the trajectory of their children's lives. In the New York Times, the Helen Gao called the China's educational system cutthroat and wrote that its positive reputation among the admirers is largely built on a myth. While China has economically expanded basic education for its people and quadrupling its output of the college graduates in the past decades, it has also created a system of discriminated against its less wealthy and well-connected citizens, thwarting social mobility at every step. With the bureaucratic and financial barriers, a huge gap in the educational opportunities between students from rural areas and those from the cities is one of the main culprits. Some 60 million students in the rural schools are left behind, children cared for the both for their grandparents as their parents seek work in the fairway cities, while many of their urban peers attend schools equipped with the state of the art facilities and the well trained teachers. Rulers students often huddle in the decrepit school building and the struggle to grasp advanced subjects such as the English and chemistry amid dearth of the qualified instructor. Rural students stand virtually no chance when they competing academically with their urban counterparts. Jing Neijing, a French independent filmmaker who made a documentary on the left behind children, told me in the Chronicle of Higher Education. Lara Ferrer argued that the disabled are shortchanged in Chinese school with the very little chance of acceptance into the higher educational institution. School uniforms. Many schools in China require the use of the school uniform until college. Students have uniform for both sports wear and their daily uniform, both of which will change depending on the season. Uniform can also differ in design depending on the schools, making it easy for people to identify which school a student attends. Proponents of school uniform argues that the uniform are unique form of a culture, remove the pressure of students comparing clothing, and although the faculty and the other to identify students and their respective schools. In an article for a China Daily, Yang Can states that while students' uniform were previously regarded as a sign of progress in current society, the uniform style is seen as more important by many students than any sense identity of any belonging. Rural education reflecting the effect that the most of China's population lives in the countryside. 95.2% of all elementary schools, 87.6% of junior high school, and 71.5% of the senior high school are in the rural areas, with the 160 million students at the compulsory education stage. In the 1995 to 2000 national projects of the compulsory education in 2004, various specialized funds allocated by the Central Finance for compulsory education in rural areas reached 10 billion yuan, a 72.4% increase on the 2003 figures of the 5.8 billion. With China's agriculture, broadcast and television school has nearly 3,000 branches, schools and teaching and administrative staff of 46,000 using radio, television, satellite, networking, audio, video materials. It has trained over 100 million people in applicable agricultural technologies and over 80 million persons for work in rural areas. After 20 years in development, it is world's largest distance learning organ for the rural education in a Ministry of Education program covering the next 5 years. The governments will implement measures to realize its aim of 9 years compulsory education in China Western region and the basic elimination of the young and the middle ages illiteracy, and the popularization of high quality 9-year compulsory education in the east and central rural areas. At the same time, the government is to promote the development of modern distance learning for rural elementary and high school and further improve rural compulsory education management system.